How are you? I'm
ready to be frightened.
Ooh.
Tell us about our guest.
Yes. Who have we got today?
We've got Stuart from Misty Moon, who's been on before.
Adrienne King.
Hello.
Hey. Hi. Lovely to see you again, Stuart.
Hello. Hi, Dee.
Hi.
Hi, Natalie. Hi,
Hiya.
Debbie.
You know you're our favourite, don't you? And the fact you're with another woman is quite worrying.
I'm his sister, you know that, don't you?
My sister from another mother.
And my brother from another mother.
That's it.
Yeah.
It's so true. It's like I've known.
Would you like to introduce your sister, please?
Hollywood, but horror royalty. Adrienne King from the original Friday the 13th.
First final girl.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
Wow. So what are you two doing together?
Ooh. Well, we just finished Dark Fest on Saturday with Alan Bryce and his beautiful
wife Yanni.
Yes.
And Mrs. Moon and I got a Lifetime Achievement Award, a Slaughter Award for Best Film Society.
Wow.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
And we actually started that as brother and sister. How many years ago was that?
14 years ago.
14 years ago.
14 years.
Wow.
And today it's 10 years at the Phoenix, but we've been 14 years.
We've been connected for that long.
Yeah, horror. And Richard Kill.
Yeah. Wow.
And my art.
And your art. That's how it all started.
He gave me my first one-woman show in the UK. So
amazing.
Wow.
Yeah.
So tell us about Friday the 13th.
Well, when I actually auditioned for it, everyone in the city, in New York City, was there to audition. Everyone under the age of probably 25, for camp counselors. And after a long summer of 1979 of callback and callback and callback and then screen test, I finally nailed the final girl, Alice. And it was a tiny little budget movie at the time. You have to understand, we ran out of money 3 times during the 6-week production. So when you see that final scene, that jump scare that still holds up to this day, it was rather freezing. It was cold in the water and no budget, so only one change of clothing and quickly drying me off for the next not lose perfect dawn light, and not giving away any anticipation of how cold that water was, getting into my using all those acting skills that we all have harnessed throughout the years. And we didn't know when we left whether we had gotten it or not, because as you know, film needs dailies. It needs to be processed. And so we left the camp and kept our fingers crossed, and needless to say, we nailed it. And Alice was your first final girl, went on to part 2, and now we're up to, oh my goodness, it turned into a $1 billion franchise is what happened.
Oh my God, that's so exciting.
Well, I hope you got recompensed for your first one.
Say that again.
I hope you got recompensed. Is that a word?
No,
absolutely not.
For sitting in the
No.
How long were you sitting in that water for?
Too long. But no, it was back in the day before actors' participation through SAG, Screen Actors Guild, and so I was in 1 and 2, and then 2 was a little bit hairier for me.
Yeah.
Jason got involved in that one. In the first one, Jason was only my dream, and I have the iconic machete role of decapitating Mrs. Voorhees.
Oh God.
So people who watch the movies backwards, if they don't see the first one in sequence,
doesn't make really sense.
It makes no sense. Everyone is going, where's Jason? Well, Jason wasn't around in the first one.
It was his mother.
It was his mother. And so people are very confused, but it's a good little mystery besides a fabulous horror film.
Yeah.
We've got to have a movie night, girls, haven't we? We've got to put our pajamas on and meet up, glass of Prosecco, and watch the movie again.
Oh my goodness,
Yes.
let's get a bottle of Prosecco and watch the movie again.
A Magnum.
Yeah.
It was,
A Magnum for all of us, right?
it was quite shocking when it came out in 1980. I mean, really shocking. But now they've reclassified it for some reason, and they put it down to a 15. And I think it just shows you the way TV and film has gone, that violence is just really ignored. And you see worse on Midsummer Murders than you do in Friday the 13th. But at the time, it was a shocking film. Yeah. Really. And Kevin Bacon was in it. Was it his first film?
It was his second film. He had done Animal House already, but Kevin Bacon was in the first movie, and I got to sit in the corner very quietly, watch, because I was watching the special effects. I'm an artist first, so Tom Savini, who's the master of special effects and makeup, CGI does not hold a candle to him, and he allowed me to come into his little cabin and watch how he baked the heads, Mrs. Voorhees's head in the oven. And so I said, can I please watch this? You know how he's laying in bed and an arrow comes through his neck. I don't know if you remember that or not. It's hard to forget, but I believe he's on air over here in commercials with that, isn't he?
Yeah, he does the EE adverts, and for a long time he didn't really talk about Friday 13th, but now he's embracing it. And there is one EE advert a while ago where they actually slipped in a little scene, so he was wearing the outfit that he wore.
And I think he had the arrow actually in the.
Well, I've never seen it because I don't like horror films.
Oh,
I'll get you a copy of it.
Yeah. Well,
I love
what?
them.
I actually was totally afraid to, after I got it, I was like shaking because I had seen The Exorcist, maybe 8 years or 7 years beforehand, and that did me in.
Yeah, that is shocking.
Did me
Even
in
now.
at the time, but now I look back at it and I laugh at the special effects. Really,
Oh
they're
God,
kind
The
of
Exorcist
they're
was
kind of funny.
at
but
the
wasn't
time it was brilliant. Oh my God,
Wasn't it?
I kept taking my friends to see it, and by the final time, I remember just putting my head in my lap, going,
That
humming.
is how I watched it. I watched it like this.
Yeah.
And so imagine me stepping on at the camp when I get there, and I'm like, oh my God, how am I going to handle this? But it was so fabulous because everyone there, it was like, it was a passion play, so to speak. It was a low budget. Everyone was there for the right reasons. Everyone was at the beginning of their career. And the director, producer, Sean Cunningham, literally was there with his last monies. He had second mortgaged his house. His children were in the film. Everything that we could do to pull it together for little money and make it work. But he had to keep on going back to his producers to ask for more money because we'd run out of money after shooting some scenes when he would say, I think I need a second camera on this. And so he'd have to go back to his producers, please, please. And that would take a few more days and we'd shut down production until we got the second camera and more film because film was so expensive, as you remember. And then then we had to wait again for a slow motion camera. So we had 3 cameras on that last scene and only 2 takes.
Wow.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Well, the people I know who've made horror films have always said it's the greatest fun they've ever had.
Absolutely. It's fun, but I must say there were times when the hairs on the back of my neck were really...
I was going to say that because I did a thing called The Mask of Satan in a theatre thing. It was like a fringe theatre. And we had to do the Lord's Prayer backwards. And we had to get a priest to come in and bless all of us to make sure that nothing untoward happened.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, yes. The specific scene I think of when you tell me that story is the fight scene between me and Betsy Palmer, who has played Mrs. Voorhees. On the beach. And up to that point, I had been quite timid. I didn't want to kill anyone, even though she killed all my friends, all my fellow campers, counselors. And she had just pushed to the brink where you realize it's either me or you. And, you find that strength. And out of nowhere, I pull out her machete off the beach and do a quick sweep across, which was quite honestly so frightening to me because it was a real machete.
Oh,
Yeah, and so we actually choreographed it the entire night from sunset to dawn, and it was choreographed because it was so dangerous. And people say, and you said to me, it looks so real.
Yeah.
And I said, that's because it was. I mean, she was snapping my head into the sand, and she was biting, and I was biting because she was so method. And she had worked with Henry Fonda, she had worked with James Dean, and she said to me in her gravelly voice, you can't hold back. You must, because if you do, you really will die.
oh.
So
Shocking.
what was the end result of that? Because that's a horror story in itself.
There was honestly, it was more horrific than anything on the screen, and it took me years of therapy. I went underground. I actually stopped doing any on camera after that because I was a mess. Psychologically speaking, I was always looking over as a matter of fact, that's when I entered my dark art as therapy, and because no one took it seriously back then. It wasn't until Rebecca Schaefer in 1986, she was in a TV program in LA called My Sister Sam, and her stalker actually killed her. So then they woke up and they said, oops, maybe we do need a law. And it takes someone actually having to be killed for the
what happened to your stalker?
Oh, he got a slap on the hand and a night in jail because it was his word against mine. We had no video cameras back then. We had no phones back then. And this particular person was a disbarred lawyer. So he had quite a few connections with a drug problem and a fixation on obviously me. Because I reminded him of someone, an ex-wife, that just happened. It was just a horrific situation, and it came down to literally I had a gun in my face.
Oh, so God. So after that, what happened after? How did he get? When did he stop?
He stopped when I said, go ahead, do it. It's been over a year, go for it. He just laughed at me. He goes, I can't believe how foolish you are, how stupid you are. It's taken you so long, because it finally dawned on me who this person was. And it was a person I had met on a Paramount Pictures picked it up in the States. Warner Brothers got the rest of the world. And you saw the Warner Brothers print over here, which is...
Well, the film. So
yes, the film, which is far superior to what Paramount actually produced, because we were an orphan child. Even though we were their biggest moneymaker in 1980, we were the top movie for the entire summer of 1980. And it was kind of like it was a situation that now when I think about it, I start to shake, actually. But
so was he a fan? And let's say you got contact.
He wasn't a fan. This is the crazy thing, because my fans love me. They adore me. It turns out that his hairdresser was a fan and said, you have to see this movie. He looks just like so-and-so. And he did. And that was that.
My God.
So did they do him for having a gun, or did he have a gun license?
No, it didn't matter. You have to understand. Back in the day, it was, he left. I called the cops. He left. They found him somewhere. By then, the gun was gone. And like I said, a disbarred lawyer. And the reason he was disbarred was cocaine, and so you can imagine.
So then did he stop after he confronted you?
Yeah, because the game was over. It was a power play.
So you basically said, shoot me in the face then, if that's what he was going to do.
I said, you know what?
And he didn't know what to do.
I'm done.
I'm
just done.
Where was that? Was that in your apartment? Where did he do
in
that?
New York City, 82nd and Madison, doorman building too. So when I tell you, when somebody wants something and they have money or they have cocaine, they can get whatever they want.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know,
Terrible.
How did it feel to have a gun pointed at your head?
How do you
What-
think?
at
Your
that moment, it was like I was beyond fear. You know,
Yeah.
it was sort of like, I'm so over this. I am so done, because it would go on and then it would stop for a while, because then, you know, I'd get get the telephone company to change my number. Well, within a few weeks, the phone would be calling again and then hanging up.
So you probably just wanted it ended. You didn't care.
Yeah.
I
if that
didn't
was it.
care at that.
how?
Because
But there was
No,
where was the first time that you actually saw his face and you could look in his eyes? Was
right
that
then. Oh no. About a year and a half prior to that, that's where I lost you. At a Paramount press party, where he was starting a new company. So what did he do? He goes, he calls up the Paramount marketing people, says, I'm having a press party for my new, I'm not going to say the product, and it was a beverage, and I'd like to invite all the cast from Friday the 13th.
And that's where you met him.
Oh,
At the party, check this one out. At the party, he hands me his card. Well, first of all, he comes up to me, great actor, and he says, and who are you? And who are you? Oh, I'm Adrienne King. Would I know you? Well, it depends. Have you seen Friday the 13th? He says, no, but I'm going to get to it.
wow.
You froze. Oh, well, you froze at that.
Pardon me?
You froze.
I froze.
It was kind of
So
quite interesting
he
when-
he handed me his card, and it said he had his phone numbers on it, and he said to me, would I know you from anywhere? And I said, Friday the 13th. It's just opened, and it's a major hit, and it's my first real film, and I'm so excited. And and he says, well, I'm meaning to get to see that, where he's already obviously seen it and
Yeah.
set this whole party up. I mean, this in itself is a great script.
so when did you think that it was him? That's
Not well. Why? So he gives me his card, and he says, I'm a lawyer, which he wasn't, obviously. And he says, if you need any legal advice, I have a lot of connections in the city.
oh my God.
Oh,
Could you love? So, ... Imagine, if you will, a few months later, when I'm like beside myself, I find his card in my pocket, and I give him a call. Ah!
And that's when I suppose it started. Oh no, but
No, that's when it escalated.
oh my God.
Did you
Oh.
confide in him? Were you telling him?
Yes.
Oh my God, this is just the. Have you scripted this? Is this a movie?
It is a movie, I
It is a
know.
movie.
It
No,
is a
but have
movie.
you scripted
But
it?
quite-
Have you written the movie? You've got to write the movie. In fact, you've got to play yourself.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, I can now, but for 20 odd years, I couldn't even talk about it. And I had post-traumatic stress therapy. But what happened was after I came to RADA in '84, I came back to the States, and I thought I was fine. And I auditioned for All My Children, and I got the role. And I was so excited, because I thought, okay, time has passed. I should be good. I've been through some therapy. I've been away. I've felt the love from all my UK fans. And, London's my home away from home. And I always felt very safe here. And so I go home and I get the role, and I'm standing in the wings to go on. And all of a sudden, my heart starts racing. And I've been in the business since I was a kid. And it's always been my love. And I never had a fear, any fear of anything. And all of a sudden I have an anxiety attack before I go on. And so that was it. Somewhere in my brain, I said, if I go on, somebody's going to see me. They're going to want to do this again, And that was the end of that. I got out of my contract, and that's when my agent said to me, we'll focus on voiceovers and looping, which is a fabulous career that no one knew about at the time, where you get to play many characters with your voice, if you can do different accents and different ages, which I could, because, growing up in the business, you learn from so many good people. And I loved it. I really did love it. I loved going into the booth. I felt very protected in the recording booth. And as you know, you don't have to put on makeup, or dress up for anything. And I did Titanic. I did, what other films did I do?
Ghostbusters.
Ghostbusters. I was a stunt person because I ran out of, I was not going to make my minimum for Screen Actors Guild insurance. And I asked a friend who was a stunt person, do you think I could get onto Ghostbusters? So he introduced me to the stunt coordinator, because stunt people, you don't see them, right? So I felt very safe. And I've never been a stunt person. So he introduced me to Cliff Cudney, who was the stunt supervisor on Friday the 13th, part 2, which I didn't know at the time. And he said, oh my God, you're Adrienne King. And I said, yes. He goes, you were fabulous in part 1, you're hired. He goes, you did your own stunts, didn't you? And I said, yes. And he goes, you're hired. And so that's how I got that. And so I actually make more money from Ghostbusters than I do from Friday the 13th, part 1, 2, and they use film clips of me in part 4. And so if you can believe that, that is the truth. I was back going to say something. I got here past last Wednesday.
Yeah.
Oh, have you ever been to one of those where they show the film and it's absolutely huge screen at the Albert Hall and the London Symphony Orchestra, and it's just so electric because you've got two
They've done
things going
Star
on.
Wars. They've done loads of stuff. There.
Wow.
Yeah, I saw Jaws. I saw E.T. Oh, it's the most wonderful experience.
Oh, I wanted
Friday
to
13.
that. And it was there?
Yeah, it was at
Albert
the Albert Hall. It was brilliant.
And listen, guys, we've got to go because we're going to a party tonight.
Yeah, we
Whose
are.
party is that?
Your party.
What's the party about?
10 years of the Phoenix. 10 years
Oh,
of the
yeah.
Phoenix.
Oh,
So
look
tell
at
me-
oh, yeah.
Do
I know
they
we've
know
got to
how?
wrap up now.
Oh, we're wrapping up.
But you'll
Yeah.
find
Oh, lovely to meet you, darling, and your wonderful experiences.
And we'll
Thank
see you later.
See you later.
I hope
they're all
so.
coming. They're all coming.
But one thing I do want to say quickly is that I'm so excited because I'm finally doing a project, a new film project with Stuart and Jen for Misty Moon. And at the moment, its working title is Quick Turnaround.
Which we're hoping to film this week.
I want people to know on Instagram, they can always reach me because now I give back to women and other people who have gone through horrific circumstances.
Thank you
Okay,
so much.
folks.
Bye.
Bye. That's the
Wow.
most terrifying story ever.
And isn't it great that she now helps women with that sort of, who've been, through the same sort of experience as her?
But it's a movie in itself. I mean, the idea of this sort of sophisticated lawyer character doing this, because you don't expect somebody like that. It's the most really chilling.
Extraordinary. Actually,
Yeah.
you're right. It would make a brilliant movie.
And actually, it robbed her of her career.
Yeah.
This beautiful, gorgeous girl. It robbed her of, the career that she could have gone on to have. But
I know.
having that, she had an amazing career in
Yeah.
voiceovers and all the things that she did. But I mean, just stops your life. It's awful.
And I didn't know an American actress was killed by a stalker.
I heard that. Actually, I did hear that. I think there was a documentary made about it as well.
God.
Yeah.
Anyway, girls.
Yeah.
See you next week.
We've got to get ready for the party.
Yeah.
See you later. Bye.
Bye.